Every year on the same October morning, the world's richest man disappears. No meetings, no phone calls, no rockets launching to Mars. Elon Musk simply vanishes from his billion-dollar empire to visit a simple grave in Palo Alto. The woman buried there saved his life when he had nothing. She believed in his impossible dreams when everyone else calls him crazy. And when she was dying, she made him promise something that seemed impossible, even for the man who sends rockets to space. Today, 28 years after they first met, Elon kneels at Elena Vasquez's grave with tears streaming down his face. In his hands, he holds a small wooden box containing the most heartbreaking gift imaginable, a handmade rocket painted by a 7-year-old girl who wanted to thank mommy's friend who sends rockets to space. But this isn't just any rocket. And Elena wasn't just any woman. She was the brilliant scientist whose heart valve invention has saved 50,000 children worldwide. She was the single mother who saw greatness in a broke college dropout. And she was the dreamer who made Elon promise to take her ashes to Mars, no matter how impossible it seemed. As Elon places the tiny rocket on her grave, he whispers words that would shock the world. "I'm sorry it took so long, Elena. But I kept my promise to Sophia. The promise that changed everything. The promise that launched 1,000 rockets. The promise that proved some dreams are worth an entire lifetime to keep." The fog rolled thick across Mountain View Cemetery. That October morning, Elon Musk pulled his black Tesla to a stop near the old oak tree. He sat in the driver's seat for a long moment, staring through the windshield at the gray mist. His hands gripped the steering wheel tighter than usual. After all these years, this never got easier. "Stay here," he told his security team through the radio. "Give me space." Elon stepped out of the car. The cool morning air hit his face like a gentle slap. In his left hand, he carried a small wooden box. In his right, a single white rose. His footsteps made soft sounds on the wet grass. Row after row of headstones stretched out before him. Some were tall and fancy, others were simple and plain. He knew exactly where to go. 5 years. It had been 5 years since she died. The cemetery was quiet except for the sound of his breathing and distant traffic from Highway 101. Somewhere in Palo Alto, people were rushing to work, drinking coffee, checking emails, living their busy lives. But here, time felt different. Slower, heavy with memories. Elon walked past the Johnson family plot, past the memorial for Korean War veterans, past the section where tech pioneers from Silicon Valley rested. Finally, he stopped. There it was, the simple gray headstone he visited every year. Dr. Elena Vasquez, 1975-2018. Beloved mother scientist, dreamer. Fresh flowers sat in the small vase by the stone. Yellow daisies. Someone else had been here recently. Someone who still remembered. Elon knelt down on the damp grass. His expensive suit would get dirty, but he didn't care. Money couldn't fix everything. It couldn't bring back the people who mattered most. "Hello, Elena," he whispered. The white rose trembled in his hand. He placed it gently next to the daisies. Then he looked at the wooden box. His throat felt tight. His eyes burned. After building rockets that could fly to Mars, after creating cars that drove themselves, after becoming one of the richest men in the world, this small wooden box still made him feel like a failure. Inside was a tiny model rocket. Not the sleek kind they sold in SpaceX gift shops. This one was painted by hand with bright colors. Red body, blue fins, silver nose cone. The paint was a little messy in spots, the kind of messy that comes from small, excited fingers. Taped to the side was a piece of paper. The edges were worn and faded. Written in purple crayon, in careful 7-year-old handwriting were the words from mommy's friend who sends rockets to space. "Love, Sophia." Elon's vision blurred. A tear dropped onto the wooden box. "I'm sorry it took so long, Elena," he said, his voice cracking, "but I kept my promise to Sophia." He opened the box and lifted out the little rocket. It was lighter than a real rocket, but somehow it felt heavier than anything he'd ever carried. All those years of meetings and phone calls and sleepless nights had led to this moment. The rocket fit perfectly in the palm of his hand. He could remember the day Sophia gave it to her mother. Elena had smiled so wide. She'd put it on her desk at the lab where she worked on artificial heart valves for sick children. "She's going to save the world someday," Elena had said about her daughter. "Just like you." Elon placed the little rocket carefully at the base of the headstone. The bright colors looked cheerful against the gray stone, like hope in a dark place. He stood up slowly. His knees creaked. When had he gotten so old? When had life gotten so complicated? The fog was starting to lift. Patches of blue sky showed through the gray. In a few hours, the sun would be shining. People would smile and laugh and dream about the future. Elena would have liked that. She always looked for the light, even when things seemed dark. "Thank you," Elon said to the headstone, "for believing in me when nobody else did, for teaching me that dreams without people to share them are just empty wishes." He wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. A 52-year-old billionaire, cawing in a cemetery. The newspapers would have a field day if they saw him now. But some things were more important than image. Some promises were too sacred to break. The sound of footsteps on wet grass made him turn around. His security team was supposed to stay back. Had something happened? But it wasn't security walking toward him through the morning mist. It was a young woman, mid-20s, with dark hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. She wore jeans and a Stanford University sweatshirt. In her hands, she carried a small bouquet of yellow daisies. When she got closer, Elon's breath caught in his throat. She had Elena's eyes. The same warm brown color. The same intelligent spark. The same gentle kindness that had once saved a desperate young entrepreneur from giving up on his dreams. The young woman stopped a few feet away. She looked at the little rocket sitting by the headstone. Then she looked at Elon. "Hello, Elon," she said softly. Her voice was different from her mother's. No accent. Pure American English. But the tone was the same. Careful, thoughtful, full of hidden strength. Elon's heart pounded in his chest. After all these years of wondering, of hoping, of carrying guilt like a heavy stone, "Sophia," he whispered. She nodded. Tears sparkled in those familiar brown eyes. "I followed you here," she said. "I knew you'd come today, you always do." The fog swirled around them like a curtain. In the distance, a SpaceX rocket trail was just barely visible in the morning sky. Another mission heading to space. Another step toward the stars. But right now, all that mattered was this moment. This girl, this promise finally being kept. Sophia stepped forward and knelt beside Elena's grave. She placed the yellow daisies next Elon's white rose and the little painted rocket. "She would have been so proud of you," Sophia said, looking up at him, "of everything you've accomplished. But mostly she would have been proud that you remembered." Elon couldn't speak. 28 years of guilt and regret and wondering what if all came crashing down on him at once. Sophia stood up and faced him fully. She was taller than her mother had been. Stronger looking. But in her eyes, Elon could see the same brilliant mind that had once helped him believe in impossible things. "We need to talk," she said. "There's something you need to know about the promise you made to her. Something that changes everything." The fog continued to lift around them. The morning was getting brighter. But Elon had a feeling his world was about to get much more complicated. 28 years earlier, September, the Stanford Medical Library smelled like old books and coffee. 24-year-old Elon Musk sat hunched over a computer terminal, his fingers flying across the keyboard. Code scrolled down the screen in green letters. It was 3 in the morning. The library was supposed to be closed, but Elon had found a way to sneak in through a side door. His tiny apartment had no internet. This was the only place he could work on his website idea. 2 days ago, he had made the biggest decision of his life. He dropped out of Stanford's PhD program. His professors thought he was crazy. His mother was worried. But Elon knew he had to try. The internet was going to change everything. He could feel it in his bones. People would shop online. They would find businesses online. They would live their whole lives online. And Elon wanted to help build that future. But right now, he was just a broke college dropout with big dreams and no money. His stomach growled loudly. When was the last time he ate? Yesterday morning, maybe. He had spent his last $5 on ramen noodles 3 days ago. Elon's head started to feel heavy. His eyes burned from staring at the screen. The code was getting blurry. Maybe he could just rest for a few minutes. His forehead hit the keyboard with a soft thunk. "Excuse me, sir? Sir, are you okay?" The voice had an accent. Soft and musical. Spanish, maybe. Elon jerked his head up. Letters and numbers were printed backwards on his forehead from where he had fallen asleep on the keyboard. A young woman stood beside his chair, looking worried. She was about 20 years old, with long dark hair and kind brown eyes. She wore a white lab coat over jeans and sneakers. In her hands, she held a steaming cup of coffee and a wrapped sandwich. "I am sorry to wake you," she said. "But the library opens in 3 hours. Security will find you here." Elon rubbed his eyes and tried to look awake. "Oh, hi. I was just working on something important." The young woman looked at his computer screen. Lines of code filled the monitor. Her eyes widened with interest. "You are building a website?" she asked. "Trying to," Elon said. "It's going to help people find local businesses online. Like a digital phone book, but better." She nodded thoughtfully. "That is very clever. But you look terrible. When did you last eat?" Elon's stomach answered for him with another loud growl. He felt his face turn red. The young woman smiled and held out the sandwich. "Ham and cheese. I made it for my dinner, but I think you need it more than I do." "I can't take your food," Elon protested. "You cannot change the world if you starve," she said firmly. She placed the sandwich and coffee on the desk next to his keyboard. "My name is Elena. Elena Vasquez. Elon Musk," he said, unwrapping the sandwich gratefully. It was the best thing he had tasted in days. "Thank you. This is really kind of you." Elena pulled up a chair beside him. "What brings you to the medical library at 3 in the morning, Elon Musk?" Between bites of sandwich, Elon explained his situation. How he had dropped out of Stanford after 2 days. How he was living in a tiny apartment with his brother. How he was trying to build a company called Zip2 with almost no money and no idea what he was doing. "My parents think I have lost my mind," Elon said. "Maybe they are right." Elena shook her head. "I do not think so. I have been watching you work for the past hour. You have very focused energy, like my professors who discover important things." "What about you?" Elon asked. "Why are you here so late?" Elena's face lit up. "I am studying biomedical engineering. I want to build medical devices that can help children in poor countries. Heart monitors, simple surgical tools, things that cost too much money right now." Her accent made some words sound different, but her passion was clear. Elon could see the same fire in her eyes that he felt when he thought about the internet and electric cars and rockets to Mars. "That sounds amazing," Elon said. "The world needs more people like you. The world needs more people like both of us," Elena replied. "People who want to build things that matter." They talked until the sun started to rise. Elena told him about her family's journey from El Salvador when she was 10. How they had nothing when they arrived in California. How her parents worked 3 jobs each to pay for her education. Elon shared his wild dreams. Electric cars that could replace gas engines. Rockets that could take people to Mars. A future where humanity lived on multiple planets. "Mars?" Elena asked, her eyes wide. "You really think people will live there someday?" "I know they will," Elon said. "We have to. Earth won't last forever. We need a backup plan." Elena was quiet for a moment. Then she smiled. "You know what I think, Elon Musk? I think you are going to do impossible things. And I think you are going to need friends to help you." Over the next few months, they met at the library almost every night. Elena helped Elon with research methods and scientific papers. Her English was still not perfect, but her mind was brilliant. She could spot problems in his code that he had missed. She asked questions that made him think harder. Elon helped Elena practice English for her presentations. He also shared his business ideas and listened to her dreams about saving children's lives with better medical technology. "Someday, when I make it big," Elon promised her one night, "I will help fund your research. We will save lives together." Elena smiled. "Someday, when you fly to Mars, I will design the medical equipment for your rockets. We will explore space together." Their friendship grew stronger each week. Elena believed in Elon's crazy ideas when everyone else thought he was wasting his time. She brought him food when he forgot to eat. She reminded him to sleep when he worked too many hours. And slowly, Zip2 started to work. Local businesses began listing themselves on Elon's website. Newspapers wanted to write articles about the young dropout who was changing how people found restaurants and shops. One evening in spring 1996, Elena seemed nervous when she arrived at the library. She kept looking down at her hands instead of meeting Elon's eyes. "Is everything okay?" Elon asked. Elena took a deep breath. "There is something I need to tell you. Something that might change things between us." Elon felt his heart skip a beat. Had he done something wrong? Was she going to stop being his friend? "What is it?" he asked gently. Elena looked up at him with those warm brown eyes. But now they were filled with fear and uncertainty. "I am pregnant," she whispered. The words hung in the air between them like a challenge. Everything they had built together, all their late-night talks and shared dreams and growing friendship, suddenly felt different. Elon stared at her, not knowing what to say. His mind raced with questions. Who was the father? What would this mean for her studies? What would this mean for them? Elena watched his face carefully, waiting for his reaction. Her whole future seemed to hang on what he would say next. Outside the library windows, the sun was setting over the Stanford campus. Students walked to their dorms and apartments, thinking about homework and parties and weekend plans. But inside the quiet library, two young dreamers sat facing a moment that would change both of their lives forever. The silence in the library felt heavy. Elena twisted her hands in her lap, waiting for Elon to say something. Anything. Elon's mind raced. He had always been good with numbers and computers and problems that had clear solutions. But this was different. This was about people and feelings and futures he couldn't calculate. "The father?" he finally asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Elena's face crumpled slightly. "His name was Marcus. We dated for 3 months. When I told him about the baby, he said it was not his problem. He transferred to a different school the next week." Tears started to form in her eyes, but she wiped them away quickly. "I am sorry, Elon. I know this changes everything between us. You have your company to build, your dreams to follow. You do not need my problems." Elon stared at her for a long moment. Elena, who had brought him food when he was starving. Elena, who had believed in his impossible dreams. Elena, who had become his closest friend in the whole world. "How far along are you?" he asked gently. 2 months, Elena said. "I found out last week. I have been trying to decide what to do." "What do you want to do?" Elena put her hand on her stomach. "I want to keep the baby, but I do not know how. My parents will be so disappointed. My professors will think I cannot handle my studies. And I have no money for a child." She looked up at him with those warm brown eyes, now full of fear and hope at the same time. "I might have to drop out of school," she whispered. "Maybe go back to San Diego and find a regular job. Forget about saving children's lives with medical devices." The thought of Elena giving up her dreams made Elon's chest hurt. She was too brilliant to waste her life. Too caring to stop helping others. Too important to lose. "No," Elon said firmly. "You are not dropping out of school." Elena blinked in surprise. "But how can I?" "I will help you," Elon interrupted. "With money. With babysitting. With whatever you need. You are going to finish your degree and build those medical devices and save lives. This baby is not going to stop you." Elena stared at him like he had said something crazy. "Elon, you barely have enough money to feed yourself. How can you help support a baby?" Elon leaned forward in his chair. "Because every child deserves a chance to reach the stars. And every brilliant woman deserves a chance to change the world." For a moment, Elena couldn't speak. Then the tears came for real this time. Not sad tears, but grateful ones. "You would do that for me?" she asked. "Even though this complicates everything?" "Friends help friends," Elon said simply. "That is what we do." They worked out a plan that night. Elena would continue her studies. Elon would help with expenses when Zip2 started making money. They would take turns watching the baby during classes and work time. It felt possible. Difficult, but possible. Over the next few months, everything changed quickly. Zip2 grew bigger than Elon had imagined. Newspapers and businesses wanted to use his website. Investors started calling with offers. But success came with a price. Elon worked 18-hour days, 7 days a week. He missed Elena's doctor appointments. He missed seeing her belly grow round with the baby. He missed the excited phone calls when she felt the first kicks. Elena never complained. She understood that building a company required sacrifice. But Elon could see the loneliness in her eyes when they met at the library. "The baby is due in December," Elena told him one October evening. "I picked out names, Sophia for a girl, Miguel for a boy." "Sophia is beautiful," Elon said, looking up from his laptop screen, "like the city in Bulgaria, like the word for wisdom in Greek." Elena corrected with a smile. "I want my daughter to be wise, to make better choices than her mother did." Something in her voice made Elon stop typing. "What do you mean?" Elena was quiet for a long moment. "I have been thinking, Elon, about your future, about the amazing things you are going to do." "Our future," Elon said. "We are friends. We support each other." Elena shook her head sadly. "You are going to be rich and famous someday. You are going to build electric cars and rockets to Mars. You are going to change the world. So are you," Elon insisted. "With your medical devices." "Maybe," Elena said. "But I will also be a single mother with a baby. That is not the kind of friend a successful businessman needs." Elon felt a chill run through him. "Elena, what are you saying?" "I am saying that maybe it is time for us to think about what is best for both of us. You need to focus on your company without distractions, and I need to focus on my baby without holding you back." Before Elon could argue, Elena stood up and gathered her books. "I should go home. Early class tomorrow." She walked away without looking back, leaving Elon alone with his computer and a growing sense that something important was slipping away from him. Sophia was born on December 15th, 1996. Elena sent Elon a photo. A tiny perfect baby with dark hair and curious eyes. On the back, she had written, "Sofia Elena Vasquez, 6 pounds, 3 ounces. Healthy and beautiful." Elon stared at the photo for hours. This little girl was part of Elena's dream now. Part of the future they had planned together in the library. But when he called the hospital, Elena had already been discharged. When he went to her apartment, the landlord said she had moved out 2 days ago. No forwarding address. Elena had disappeared from his life as quietly as she had entered it. The next few years passed in a blur of success and loneliness. Zip2 grew into a real company with real employees and real profits. In 1999, Compaq bought it for $307 million. Elon was suddenly rich beyond his wildest dreams. But wealth felt empty without someone to share it with. Elena had been right about one thing. He did become famous and successful. But he had been wrong about what mattered most. Late at night, when he couldn't sleep, Elon would wonder about Elena and Sophia. Were they healthy? Was Elena still studying to be a biomedical engineer? Was Sophia learning to walk and talk and dream big dreams? He hired private investigators to find them. He searched through college databases and medical programs. He even flew to San Diego to look for Elena's family. But it was like they had vanished completely. Elena had kept her promise to stay out of his way so he could focus on changing the world. The irony was bitter. He had all the money he needed to help her now. But she was gone. Unknown to Elon, Elena was living just 2 hours away in San Diego. She had finished her degree while working part-time and caring for baby Sophia. She kept newspaper clippings about Zip2's success in a scrapbook. At night, she would read to 4-year-old Sophia about the man who was building electric cars and planning rockets to Mars. "Mama's friend who sends rockets to space," she would tell Sophia. "Someday you might meet him." But Elena never called. She had made her choice to let Elon follow his dreams without the burden of her problems. Even when money was tight and Sophia asked about her father, Elena kept Elon's secret. She watched from a distance as he sold Zip2 and started PayPal. She cheered silently when he founded Tesla and SpaceX. She was proud of the young dreamer she had fed sandwiches to in the library, and she waited, hoping that someday their paths might cross again when the timing was right. But timing, Elena was learning, was the one thing even brilliant people couldn't control. December 2008, Tesla factory, Fremont, California. Elon hadn't slept in 36 hours. His eyes burned as he stared at the computer screen showing Tesla's bank balance. The numbers were not good. Very not good. The Tesla Roadster was supposed to save his company. Instead, it was killing it. Every car that rolled off the production line had problems. The doors didn't fit right. The air conditioning broke. The batteries died too quickly. And now the whole economy was falling apart. Banks were failing. People were losing their homes. Nobody wanted to buy expensive electric cars during a recession. Elon had put every dollar he owned into Tesla. He had borrowed millions more. If the company failed, he would lose everything. His house, his reputation, his dream of making electric cars that could replace gas engines forever. He was sleeping on a mattress in the factory office, living on energy bars and coffee. His hair was messy and his clothes were wrinkled. The richest man in Silicon Valley looked like a homeless person. His phone buzzed. Another angry call from investors? Probably. Or lawyers. Or reporters wanting to write about Tesla's problems. But the caller ID said Martinez Investigations, the private detective company he had hired years ago to find Elena. Elon's heart jumped. He had almost given up hope. "This is Elon," he answered quickly. "Mr. Musk, this is Detective Martinez. We found her." Elon sat up straight in his chair. "Elena? You found Elena Vasquez?" "Yes, sir. She lives in San Diego. She's a doctor now. Works at Children's Hospital developing medical devices, just like she always wanted." Relief and excitement flooded through Elon's chest. After all these years of wondering and worrying, Elena was okay. She had achieved her dream. "What about her daughter?" Elon asked. "Sophia, she's 13 now. Smart kid. Honor roll student. Wants to be an astronaut." Elon smiled for the first time in weeks. Of course Sophia wanted to be an astronaut. Elena had probably told her stories about reaching for the stars. "There's something else, Mr. Musk," Detective Martinez said. His voice sounded different now. Careful, sad. "What is it?" "Dr. Vasquez has been diagnosed with ALS. Lou Gehrig's disease. The doctors say she has maybe 5 years left." The phone slipped from Elon's hand and clattered onto the desk. ALS. The disease that slowly destroys your muscles while your mind stays perfectly clear. The disease that took away your ability to walk, then talk, then breathe. The disease that had no cure. Elena was dying. Brilliant, kind, beautiful Elena, who had saved his life with sandwiches and coffee. Who had believed in his crazy dreams when everyone else thought he was wasting his time. Who had disappeared to give him the freedom to change the world. And now she was running out of time. Elon picked up the phone with shaking hands. "How long has she known?" "About 6 months. She's still working, but the symptoms are getting worse. Trouble with her hands. Some weakness in her legs." "Does she know I was looking for her?" "No, sir. We were very discreet. She has no idea." Elon closed his eyes. Tesla was falling apart. SpaceX was still struggling to get rockets into orbit. His whole life was a mess of broken promises and impossible deadlines. But none of that mattered now. "Send me her address," Elon said. "I'm going to San Diego." 3 hours later, Elon stood outside the Children's Hospital of San Diego. His hands were shaking as he went through the main entrance. He had no plan, no speech prepared. He just knew he had to see Elena. The receptionist directed him to the biomedical engineering lab on the 4th floor. Through the glass windows, he could see people in white coats working with complex machines and computer screens. And there she was. Elena sat at a workbench, studying something under a microscope. Her dark hair was shorter now, pulled back in a professional bun. She wore glasses and a white lab coat. She looked older but still beautiful. For a moment, Elon just watched her work. This was Elena in her element, doing what she was born to do, saving children's lives with science and determination. Then Elena looked up from the microscope and saw him through the window. Her face went completely white. She gripped the edge of the workbench like she might fall over. Slowly, Elena stood up. Elon could see the slight shakiness in her movements now that he knew what to look for. She walked to the lab door and opened it. "Hello, Elon," she said quietly. Her voice was the same. That gentle accent, that warmth that had gotten him through the darkest nights of Billing Zip 2. "Hello, Elena," he managed to say. They stared at each other across 13 years of separation. 13 years of success and failure, and dreams that had come true in ways neither of them expected. "You look tired," Elena said with a small smile. "When did you last eat?" Despite everything, the disease, the years apart, the uncertainty, Elon laughed. "You always ask me that. Because you never take care of yourself," Elena replied. "Some things do not change." She stepped aside to let him into the lab. "Come, let me show you what I have been working on." Elena led him to her workbench. Under the microscope was a tiny device that looked like a small flower made of metal and plastic. "Artificial heart valve," Elena explained. "For children born with heart defects. The current ones cost $50,000 each. Mine will cost $500 and work just as well." Elon looked at the tiny device that could save a child's life. "Elena, this is incredible." "Not yet," Elena said. "I am still working on the design, making it stronger, safer. But I am running out of time to finish." She said the last part so quietly that Elon almost missed it. "The ALS," he said gently. Elena's face showed surprise, then sadness. "You know, I hired people to find you. I have been looking for you for years." Elena sat down heavily in her chair. "Why?" "Because I never stopped caring about you. Because I never stopped feeling guilty for letting you disappear. Because I promised to help fund your research, and I always keep my promises, even if I am 13 years late." Tears started to form in Elena's eyes. "Elon, you do not understand. I have maybe 5 years left. Maybe less. My hands are already getting weak. Soon I will not be able to work." "Then we work faster," Elon said firmly. "We finish your heart valve. We get it approved. We save as many children as we can. I am investing in your research. Full funding. Whatever you need. And I want to meet Sophia." Elena wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. "She is at school right now." "But Elon, are you sure? This is not your responsibility." "You are not a responsibility," Elon said. "You are my friend. The person who believed in me when I had nothing. The person who taught me that dreams mean nothing if they don't help other people." Elena smiled through her tears. "You remember that? I remember everything. Every sandwich. Every late night in the library. Every time you told me I could change the world when I was ready to give up." They talked for 2 hours, about the years apart. About Sophia growing up smart and curious. About Elena's work and Elon's companies. And all the dreams they had shared in the Stanford library. Finally, Elena looked at her watch. "Sophia gets home from school at 4. Would you like to meet her?" Elon's heart pounded. "What will you tell her about me?" Elena smiled. "The truth. That you are Mama's friend who sends rockets to space. And that you are going to help us finish something very important." As they walked out of the hospital together, Elena stumbled slightly. Elon caught her arm to steady her. "Thank you," she said quietly. "For catching you? For coming back," Elena said. "For not giving up on us." That evening, Elon met 13-year-old Sophia. She was shy at first, but her eyes lit up when he told her stories about SpaceX rockets and plans to go to Mars. "Mama says you are going to live on other planets someday," Sophia said. "Maybe," Elon replied. "But first, your mom and I are going to save some lives right here on Earth." As he drove back to the hotel that night, Elon felt something he had not felt in years. Purpose that had nothing to do with money or fame or proving people wrong. Elena was dying. But she was not gone yet. And while she was still here, they had work to do. Important work. The kind that mattered most. January 2009, San Diego. The laboratory Elena had set up in her garage looked like something from a science fiction movie. Tables covered with tiny metal parts, computer screens showing heart diagrams, and machines that hummed softly while they worked. Elon stood in the middle of it all, amazed. While he had been building rockets and cars, Elena had been building something that could save thousands of children. "The valve has to be perfect," Elena explained, holding up a device the size of a coin. Her hands shook slightly, but her voice was steady. "One small mistake and a child dies on the operating table." Sophia sat at a computer in the corner, doing homework but listening to every word. At 13, she understood more about heart surgery than most adults. Mom has tested it 100 times, Sophia said proudly. It works better than the expensive ones. Elena smiled at her daughter. Sophia helps me with the computer models. She is very good at math. Over the next 3 years, Elon split his time between Tesla, SpaceX, and Elena's garage laboratory. Tesla finally started making cars that worked. SpaceX finally got rockets to orbit. But the most important work happened in San Diego. Elena's artificial heart valve was revolutionary. It cost almost nothing to make, but worked as well as devices that cost $50,000. It could save children in poor countries who never had a chance before. But Elena's condition was getting worse. By 2010, she needed a cane to walk. By 2011, her hands shook so much she could barely hold the tiny valve parts. By 2012, her speech started to slur when she was tired. Sophia watched her mother's decline with the fierce determination of a teenager who refused to accept defeat. She learned everything about ALS. She researched new treatments. She helped Elena with physical therapy exercises. "We are going to beat this," Sophia told Elon during one of his visits. Mom is too stubborn to give up. But Elon could see the truth in Elena's eyes. She was losing the battle against time. "I need to finish the valve design before my hands stop working completely," Elena told him one evening. They were alone in the garage. Sophia was at a friend's house. "You will finish it," Elon said. "I have complete faith in you." Elena looked at him with those warm, brown eyes that had not changed in 17 years. "Elon, there is something else I need to ask you. Something harder than money or time. Anything," Elon said immediately. "When I am gone, Sophia will be alone. She has no other family, no father who cares about her." Elena's voice cracked. Could you watch out for her? Not as a parent, just as a friend who makes sure she follows her dreams." Elon felt his throat tighten. "Ilana, you are not going anywhere for a long time. Promise me," Elena insisted. "Promise me that Sophia will know she can reach the stars. That someone believes in her the way you believed in impossible things." "I promise," Elon whispered. Elena smiled and squeezed his hand with what strength she had left. "Thank you. Now help me finish this valve. We have children to save." They worked together every weekend for the next year. Elena's brilliant mind was still sharp even as her body failed. She guided Elon through the complex engineering. While he handled the parts her shaking hands could no longer manage. Sophia helped too, becoming an expert at reading medical research and spotting design problems. At 16, she was already thinking like an engineer. "Look at this," Sophia said one Saturday morning, pointing at her computer screen. "I found a study from Germany that shows a different angle for the valve opening. It might work better." Elena studied the research and nodded slowly. "You are right. That could improve blood flow by 15%. "Sophia, that is brilliant," Elon said. "You might have just made the valve perfect." Sophia beamed with pride. Her mother's daughter, solving problems that could save lives. In late 2012, they finally completed the design. The Elena Vasquez heart valve was ready for clinical trials. It would take 2 more years to get approval from the government, but they had done it. Elena could barely speak by then, but her smile said everything. The first clinical trial was at Children's Hospital of San Diego in January 2013. Elena sat in a wheelchair next to the operating table, watching through glass windows as surgeons installed her valve in a 7-year-old boy named Carlos. Carlos came from a poor family in Mexico. Without Elena's low-cost valve, he would have died before his 8th birthday. The surgery was perfect. Carlos's heart started beating stronger immediately. "It works," the surgeon announced to the observation room. "Better than we expected." Elena started crying. Happy tears. Tears of accomplishment. 17 years after meeting Elon in a library, she had achieved her dream of saving children's lives. Sophia hugged her mother carefully. Elena was so fragile now that even hugs had to be gentle. "You did it, Mom," Sophia whispered. "You really did it." Over the next year, the valve saved dozens of children during trials. Each success made Elena smile, even as speaking became impossible, and walking became a memory. By 2014, Elena communicated mostly through a computer that tracked her eye movements. She could still think clearly, but her body was shutting down piece by piece. Sophia, now 17 and accepted to MIT for aerospace engineering, spent every free moment with her mother. They would sit together for hours, Elena typing messages with her eyes, while Sophia talked about school and college and dreams of working for SpaceX someday. "I want to design life support systems for Mars missions," Sophia told her mother one evening, "so when humans go to other planets, they will be safe." Elena typed slowly. "Your father would be proud. Not the one who ran away. The one who stayed and believed in you." Sophia looked confused. "Mom, what do you mean?" Elena's eyes moved to where Elon was sitting across the room, reading technical papers. He looked up when he felt them watching. "She means me," Elon said quietly. "I may not be your biological father, Sophia, but I love you like you are my own daughter." Sophia's eyes filled with tears. At 17, she finally understood the real story of her mother's friendship with Elon Musk. Not a romantic love story, but something deeper. A chosen family built on shared dreams and mutual support. "I love you too," Sophia said, looking back and forth between Elena and Elon. "Both of you. My real parents." Elena's last good day came in March 2015. Her valve had been approved by the government and was being manufactured around the world. Hundreds of children would live because of her work. She managed to speak one last time, her voice barely a whisper. "Elon, take care of our girl. Help her reach Mars." 3 weeks later, Elena passed away quietly in her sleep. Sophia was holding her hand. Elon was reading her from a book about the first Mars missions. The funeral was small but meaningful. Hundreds of families whose children had been saved by Elena's valve came to say thank you. Sophia spoke about her mother's dreams and determination. Elon spoke about friendship and promises, and the importance of never giving up on impossible things. As they lowered Elena's casket into the ground, Sophia whispered, "I will make you proud, Mom. I will help humans reach the stars." But Elena had one final surprise waiting for them. Her lawyer read the will 3 days after the funeral. Elena's last request seemed impossible. Even for Elon Musk, she wanted her ashes taken to Mars. "It was always her dream," the lawyer explained. "She said humans need hope, and hope lives in the stars." She wanted to be part of that first step into the universe. Elon stared at the legal document. Taking human ashes to Mars would require a successful crewed mission. That was still years away, maybe decades. But Elena had taught him that some promises were worth everything. "We will find a way," Elon told Sophia as they left the lawyer's office. "Your mother will see Mars. I guarantee it." Sophia wiped her tears and nodded. "Then we better start building better rockets." April 2018. SpaceX headquarters, Hawthorne. 5 years had passed since Elena's death. Sophia, now 23 and fresh out of MIT with a degree in aerospace engineering, walked through the SpaceX factory for her first day of work. The massive building buzzed with activity. Engineers in blue shirts worked on rocket engines the size of cars. Technicians tested computer systems that would guide ships to Mars. Welders shaped metal that would carry humans farther than anyone had ever traveled. Sophia felt small among all the brilliant minds and incredible machines. But she also felt excited. This was where her mother's impossible dream would finally come true. "Welcome to SpaceX," Elon said, appearing beside her with a smile. "Ready to help build the future?" "Ready to keep our promise to Mom," Sophia replied. Elon's expression grew serious. Taking Elena's ashes to Mars was still a huge challenge. Human missions to Mars were planned for the 2030s at the earliest. That was more than a decade away. But Elon had an idea. "Come with me," he said, leading Sophia to a conference room filled with mission planners and engineers. "I want you to meet the Mars team." The next hour changed everything Sophia thought she knew about space travel. The engineers explained how SpaceX was planning not just to visit Mars, but to build a permanent human settlement there. "The first crewed mission will launch in 2024, the lead engineer said. "We will carry supplies, equipment, and personal items for the crew." Sophia's heart jumped. Personal items? Family photos, letters from home, small mementos that remind the crew of Earth. Another engineer explained, "Keeping people happy is just as important as keeping them alive on a 2-year mission." Elon looked at Sophia meaningfully. "We could carry other meaningful items too. Things that represent the dreams and sacrifices that made Mars missions possible." That evening, Elon called a press conference that shocked the space industry. SpaceX will carry a special memorial compartment on our first crewed Mars mission, he announced to reporters from around the world. We will transport the ashes of people who devoted their lives to advancing human knowledge in space exploration. A reporter raised her hand. How many people will be included? 100 individuals maximum, Elon replied. Scientists, engineers, teachers, and dreamers who believed humanity should become a multi-planet species. Another reporter asked, how will you choose who gets included? Elon paused and looked directly at the camera. Some will be famous astronauts and space pioneers. Others will be ordinary people who did extraordinary things, like Dr. Elena Vasquez, who designed artificial heart valves that have saved thousands of children's lives. She dreamed of humans reaching Mars, and now she will be part of that first journey. Sophia watched from the back of the room, tears streaming down her face. Elon had found a way to make the impossible promise possible. Over the next months, Sophia threw herself into Mars mission planning. She worked 18-hour days designing life support systems, just like her mother had dreamed. She studied how to grow food in Martian soil, how to extract water from the planet's ice caps, and how to keep humans healthy during the long journey from Earth. The memorial compartment became her special project. She designed a secure container that would protect the ashes during launch, space travel, and landing on Mars. Each family would get a small capsule the size of a jewelry box. It has to be perfect, Sophia told her engineering team. These people trusted us with their most precious memories. Elena's ashes sat in a place of honor on Sophia's desk. The small silver urn was engraved with the words Dr. Elena Vasquez. She reached for the stars to help children on Earth. Sophia talked to the urn every morning before work. Good morning, Mom. Let's build something amazing today. The Mars mission grew more complex every month. Sophia's life support systems had to work perfectly for 2 years in space, and then function on a planet with no breathable air. One mistake could kill the entire crew. But Sophia had learned determination from watching her mother fight ALS. When other engineers said something was impossible, Sophia found a way to make it work. You remind me of Elena, Elon told her one evening as they reviewed system designs. She never accepted no for an answer either. Mom always said the best solutions come from the hardest problems, Sophia replied. Mars is definitely a hard problem. In 2019, tragedy almost derailed everything. During a test of the Mars rocket, an explosion destroyed 6 months of work. No one was hurt, but the mission timeline looked impossible now. Sophia found Elon sitting alone in his office at 2 in the morning, staring at photos of the destroyed rocket. We can rebuild it, she said quietly. In time for the 2024 launch window. Elon shook his head. Mars and Earth only align properly every 26 months. If we miss 2024, your mother's ashes won't reach Mars until 20. Sophia sat down across from him. Mom waited her whole life to save children with her heart valve. She can wait 2 more years to reach Mars. But you shouldn't have to wait, Elon said. This was supposed to honor her memory. Sophia smiled sadly. Elon, you have already honored her memory in ways she never imagined. Her heart valves have saved over 10,000 children. The Elena Vasquez Foundation funds medical research around the world. You kept every promise you made to her, except this one. This one is bigger than both of us, Sophia said. Mom understood that some dreams take longer than one lifetime to achieve. That's why she had me. That's why she trusted you to help me carry on her work. Elon looked up from the photos. What are you saying? I'm saying we rebuild the rocket. We make it better. We make sure the 2024 mission succeeds, even if it takes 20-hour days and sleeping in the factory. Sophia stood up and walked to the window overlooking the SpaceX production floor. Even at 2 in the morning, people were working, welding, testing, building humanity's future one piece at a time. Mom believed humans needed hope. Sophia said, she believed we needed to know there was always somewhere else to go if Earth couldn't support us anymore. This mission isn't just about taking her ashes to Mars. It's about proving that impossible dreams can come true if enough people work together. Elon joined her at the window. Below them, a new rocket engine was taking shape under bright lights. You sound just like her, he said quietly. Good, Sophia replied. Someone has to carry on her optimism. Someone has to believe in impossible things. The next morning, Elon announced that SpaceX would rebuild the Mars rocket with improved safety systems. The launch date remained 2024. The memorial compartment would still carry Elena's ashes and 99 other dreamers to the Red Planet. Sophia led the engineering team that redesigned the life support systems. She worked with a determination that reminded everyone of Elena's final years in the garage laboratory. No detail was too small. No problem was too difficult. "My mother taught me that saving lives is the most important work anyone can do," Sophia told a reporter who asked about her motivation. "These astronauts are risking their lives to secure humanity's future. Making sure they come home safely is how I honor her memory." By early 2023, the new rocket was ready for testing. Sophia's life support systems had passed every simulation. The memorial compartment was installed and certified to protect its precious cargo during the violent journey to space. But as the launch date approached, Sophia started having doubts. "What if something goes wrong?" she asked Elon one evening. "What if we lose Mom's ashes in an explosion or crash landing?" Elon put his hand on her shoulder. "Then we will have honored her by trying something impossible." Elena never played it safe. She took risks to save children's lives. "She would want us to take this risk too." Sophia nodded, but her worry didn't go away. Elena's ashes represented more than just her mother's remains. They represented 28 years of friendship, sacrifice, and promises kept. They represented hope for humanity's future among the stars. The weight of that responsibility felt heavier than any rocket engine. 3 months before launch, disaster struck again. But this time, the problem wasn't with rockets or engines or computers. The problem was with Sophia herself. July 2023, SpaceX Medical Center. Sophia stared at the test results in her hands. The words seemed to blur together on the page, but one phrase stood out clearly. "Genetic markers consistent with ALS predisposition." Her legs felt weak. She sat down heavily in the plastic chair next to the doctor's desk. "Dr. Chen," she said quietly, "what exactly does this mean?" The young doctor looked uncomfortable. "It means you carry the same genetic mutation that caused your mother's ALS. But Sophia, this doesn't mean you will definitely get the disease. It just means you have a higher risk." "How much higher?" "About 60% chance of developing symptoms by age 40. But that's still 17 years away for you, and research is advancing quickly. There might be treatments by then." Sophia's mind raced. 17 years. Her mother had lived 5 years with ALS after diagnosis. That would give Sophia maybe 22 years total if she got sick at 40. Not enough time to see humans establish a real colony on Mars. Not enough time to have children of her own. Not enough time to finish all the work Elena had dreamed of. "Does anyone else know about this?" Sophia asked. "Just your doctor and me. Patient confidentiality laws protect this information. But Sophia, you should tell Mr. Musk. If you develop symptoms while working on critical missions." "No," Sophia said firmly. "I can't tell him. Not now. The Mars mission launches in 8 months. If Elon thinks I might get sick, he'll remove me from the project." Dr. Chen frowned. "Sophia, hiding medical information from your employer is dangerous, especially in airless work. My mother worked for 3 years after her diagnosis," Sophia argued. She completed her heart valve design even as her hands were shaking. "I can finish this mission." But as Sophia walked back to her apartment that evening, doubt gnawed at her stomach. What if she started showing symptoms during the mission? What if her hands began shaking while she was programming life support systems? What if she made a mistake that killed the astronauts? For the first time since Elena's death, Sophia felt truly alone. The next morning at SpaceX, Elon immediately noticed something was wrong. "You look terrible," he said, as Sophia sat at her engineering workstation. "Are you getting sick?" Sophia's heart jumped. "Just tired. I've been working late on the atmospheric recycling system." Elon studied her face carefully. "Sophia, you know you can talk to me about anything, right? We're family." The kindness in his voice almost broke her resolve. Sophia wanted to tell him everything. About the genetic test. About her fears. About the possibility that she might follow her mother's path toward early death. But Elena's ashes sat in their memorial capsule just 30 feet away, waiting to be loaded onto the Mars rocket. 10,000 children were alive because of Elena's heart valve. The Elena Vasquez Foundation was funding research that would save thousands more. Sophia couldn't risk all of that because of something that might never happen.
I'm fine.
She lied. Just focused on making sure everything is perfect. Over the next 6 months, Sophia worked with desperate intensity. She double-checked every calculation. She ran thousands of simulations. She personally tested every piece of life support equipment. Her teammates started calling her the perfectionist. They joked that Sophia tested things so thoroughly that the Mars mission would be the safest spaceflight in history. But Sophia wasn't being careful because she was perfectionist. She was being careful because she was terrified. If she was going to get sick like her mother, she had to make sure her work was flawless first. Late at night, alone in the lab, Sophia found herself talking to Elena's ashes. "Mom, I might be joining you sooner than I thought," she whispered to the silver urn. "I'm scared. Not of dying, but of not finishing what we started. What if I get sick before we establish the Mars colony? What if I can't help humans become a multi-planet species?" The ashes, of course, didn't answer. But Sophia remembered Elena's words from years ago. "Some dreams take longer than one lifetime to achieve. That's why I had you." Maybe that was the point. Maybe Sophia wasn't supposed to finish everything herself. Maybe she was supposed to start things that other people would complete. 3 weeks before launch, the final crisis hit. Sophia was running last-minute tests on the atmospheric processing unit when she noticed a critical flaw in the backup oxygen system. If the primary system failed, the backup wouldn't provide enough air for all 6 astronauts. It was exactly the kind of problem that could kill everyone on board. "We have to delay the launch," the chief engineer said when Sophia showed him the data. "This will take months to fix properly." "No," Sophia said firmly. "We launch on schedule." "Sophia, this is a life-threatening problem." "Then I'll fix it in 3 weeks." The chief engineer stared at her. "That's impossible. The system needs complete redesign and testing. My mother designed a revolutionary heart valve while dying of ALS." Sophia said, "I can fix an oxygen system in 3 weeks." What followed were the most intense 21 days of Sophia's life. She worked 20-hour shifts sleeping on a cot in the engineering lab. She lived on coffee and energy bars. She called in favors from every brilliant engineer she knew. Elon found her collapsed at her workstation on day 18. "Sophia," he shouted, rushing to help her up. "When did you last sleep? When did you last eat?" Sophia's vision was blurry from exhaustion. "I'm fine. Just need to finish the oxygen calculations." "You're not fine. You're killing yourself. Better me than the astronauts," Sophia mumbled. Elon helped her to a chair and knelt down in front of her. "Sophia, what is going on? This isn't just about perfectionism anymore. You're working like Mom did at the end," Sophia finished, when she knew she was running out of time. The words slipped out before Sophia could stop them. Elon went very still. "What do you mean, running out of time?" Sophia looked into his concerned eyes and realized she couldn't lie anymore. Not to the man who had become her father in every way that mattered. "I carry the same genetic mutation that killed Mom," she said quietly. "I might have 20 years left. Maybe less." Elon's face went white. "Sophia, why didn't you tell me?" "Because I was afraid you'd take me off the mission. And this mission is too important. Mom's ashes have to reach Mars. The life support systems have to work perfectly. I can't let you down." Elon was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was gentle but firm. "Elena would be furious with you right now." Sophia blinked in surprise. "What? Your mother never worked herself to death because she was afraid of dying. She worked hard because she wanted to save as many lives as possible while she could. But she also made time for what mattered most. Like you." Elon stood up and walked to the window overlooking the rocket assembly floor. "Elena wouldn't want you to sacrifice your health for this mission. She would want you to work smart, not just hard. She would want you to take care of yourself so you could continue her work for as long as possible." Sophia wiped tears from her eyes. "But what if I get sick during a critical mission? What if I make mistakes that hurt people? Then we'll deal with that when it happens," Elon said. "But right now you're not sick. Right now you're brilliant and healthy and capable of incredible things. Don't waste that by working yourself into exhaustion." Over the next 3 days, Sophia worked with a full team to fix the oxygen system. Instead of trying to solve everything alone, she accepted help from other engineers. Instead of working 20-hour days, she took breaks to eat and sleep. The solution they found together was better than anything Sophia could have designed alone. On launch day, Sophia stood next to Elon at Kennedy Space Center, watching the massive rocket that carried Elena's ashes disappear into the blue sky. "She's finally going to the stars," Sophia whispered. "And you helped make it possible," Elon replied. "Your mother would be so proud." As the rocket vanished into space, Sophia felt something she hadn't experienced in months: peace. She had kept the promise to Elena. She had helped design the systems that would keep the astronauts alive. She had honored her mother's memory in the best way possible. Whatever the future held, sickness or health, long life or short, Sophia knew she had used her time well. But 6 months later, a message from Mars would surprise everyone and change everything they thought they knew about Elena's legacy. October 2023, Kennedy Space Center. The morning of the Mars launch dawned clear and bright. Thousands of people gathered on the beaches around Cape Canaveral to watch history being made. This wasn't just another rocket launch. This was humanity's first step toward becoming a species that lived on 2 planets. Sophia stood in the VIP viewing area next to Elon, wearing a blue SpaceX shirt and sunglasses to hide her nervous tears. In her hands, she held a photo of Elena taken in the Stanford Library 28 years ago. Young, brilliant, and full of dreams. "How are you feeling?" Elon asked quietly. "Like Mom is watching," Sophia replied. "Like she's finally going to see her impossible dream come true." The rocket stood on the launch pad like a silver skyscraper, 400 feet tall and loaded with 6 astronauts, supplies for a 2-year mission, and 100 memorial capsules containing the ashes of dreamers who had believed in reaching the stars. Elena's capsule sat in a place of honor next to the capsules of famous astronauts and space pioneers. But to Sophia, her mother's ashes were the most important cargo on board. "T-minus 60 seconds, announced the voice from Mission Control. Sophia's heart pounded. After 5 years of planning and building and testing, this was the moment. In 60 seconds, Elena would begin her journey to Mars. T-minus 30 seconds. Around them, thousands of people fell silent. Even the children stopped talking. Everyone understood they were witnessing something that would be remembered forever. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7. Sophia grabbed Elon's hand and squeezed tight. 3, 2, 1. Ignition. The rocket engines roared to life with a sound like controlled thunder. Bright orange flames shot out from the bottom of the rocket, and slowly, majestically, the massive ship began to rise. "And we have liftoff," the announcer shouted over the noise. Sophia watched through tears as the rocket carrying her mother climbed higher and higher into the blue sky. The sound was incredible. Not just noise, but power and hope and human determination made audible. "She's flying," Sophia whispered. "Mom is really flying." The rocket disappeared into the clouds, then reappeared as a tiny dot of light against the deep blue. In a few minutes, it would break free of Earth's atmosphere entirely. Elena would be in space, heading toward the red planet she had dreamed about in a Stanford library. As the crowd began to cheer and celebrate, Elon pulled Sophia aside. "There's something I need to tell you," he said. "Something I planned as a surprise." Sophia wiped her eyes and looked at him. "What kind of surprise?" Elon smiled and handed her an official-looking document. "The Elena Vasquez Foundation is getting a major expansion. $100 million to fund medical research for children in developing countries." Sophia's mouth fell open. "Elon, that's incredible. But why now?" "Because your mother's work isn't finished," Elon said. "Her heart valve has saved thousands of children, but there are thousands more who need help. This money will fund research into pediatric cancer treatments, artificial organs for children, and mobile medical clinics that can reach remote areas." Sophia started crying again, but these were happy tears. "Mom would have loved this. There's more," Elon continued. "You're gonna run the foundation. After the Mars mission is established, you'll lead a team of doctors and engineers who will carry on Elena's dream of using technology to save children's lives." Sophia hugged him tightly. "Thank you for everything, for keeping your promises to Mom, for taking care of me, for making her dreams bigger than she ever imagined." They stood together watching the rocket trail fade in the morning sky. Around them, People were already heading back their cars and hotels. But for Sophia, this moment felt too important to end. That evening, back at SpaceX headquarters, Sophia sat alone in Elena's old laboratory. The room had been preserved exactly as Elena left it, workbenches covered with heart valve prototypes, computer screens showing medical diagrams and photos of children whose lives had been saved. On the main desk sat Elena's original research notes from Stanford, yellowed with age. Sophia opened the notebook to a random page and found something that made her gasp. In the margins of a page about artificial heart design, Elena had written in her careful handwriting, "Question: could ESA rockets deliver medical supplies to remote locations? Space technology serving humanity on Earth too?" Elena had been thinking about combining space technology with medical help 25 years ago. She had understood even then that Elon's dreams weren't just about glory or adventure. They were about hope. Sophia turned more pages and found other notes. Mars greenhouse designs for Earth hospitals, and zero-gravity manufacturing for prosthetic limbs, and rocket fuel chemistry applications in medicine. Elena had seen connections that no one else noticed. She had imagined ways to use space exploration to help people on Earth, not just to escape from Earth. "You were thinking about this the whole time, weren't you, Mom?" Sophia said to the empty room. "You knew that reaching for the stars would teach us how to help people down here." Sophia's phone buzzed with a text message from the Mars Mission Control Team. "All systems nominal. Crew reports smooth flight. Memorial compartment secure. Elena is on her way to the stars." 6 months later, the next message would be even more amazing. "March 2024, SpaceX Mission Control. Mars Base 1 to Houston. We have successfully landed and are beginning surface operations." Sophia jumped out of her chair and cheered along with everyone else in Mission Control. After 9 months of space travel, the crew had safely reached Mars and begun humanity's first permanent settlement on another planet. "Memorial service for the ashes will take place tomorrow at Elena's garden," the astronaut commander reported. "We've prepared the greenhouse site as requested." Elena's garden. That was what they had decided to name the greenhouse where Elena's ashes would be scattered. It seemed fitting, a place where Earth plants would grow in Martian soil, just like Elena's dreams had grown in impossible circumstances. The memorial service took place on a crisp Martian morning. 6 astronauts gathered in the greenhouse dome, surrounded by equipment that would turn red dirt into fertile soil for growing food. Commander Sarah Chen held Elena's memorial capsule as she spoke to the camera that would send the service back Earth. "Dr. Elena Vasquez dreamed of saving children's lives through medical technology," she said. She also believed that humans needed hope, and that hope lived in the stars. "Today we honor both dreams by placing her ashes in the soil where the first Earth plants will grow on Mars." Sophia watched from Mission Control as the commander opened Elena's capsule and scattered the ashes into specially prepared soil. The ceremony was simple but beautiful. "Elena's garden will be the first place on Mars where Earth life takes root," Commander Chen concluded. "It seems perfect that the woman who devoted her life to helping life flourish should be the foundation for life on a new world." Over the next month, something remarkable happened. The Earth seeds planted in Elena's garden grew faster and stronger than anyone expected. Tomatoes that should have taken months to mature were ready in weeks. Wheat that usually required careful temperature control thrived in the Martian greenhouse. The botanist on the mission, Dr. James Park, sent regular reports back to Earth. "The soil chemistry where we scattered Dr. Vasquez's ashes is unlike anything we've seen," he reported. "The combination of organic compounds from the cremation process and natural Martian minerals has created an incredibly fertile growing medium." Sophia listened to these reports with growing amazement. Even in death, her mother was still helping life flourish. But the most incredible discovery came 6 weeks after the memorial service. "Houston, you need to see this." Dr. Park's excited voice crackled over the radio. "Elena's garden isn't just growing better plants. It's growing plants that seem adapted to Mars conditions. The tomatoes have developed thicker skins to protect against radiation. The wheat roots have grown deeper to find water. It's like the plants are evolving to live here." Sophia felt chills run down her spine. "What does that mean?" "It means," Dr. Park continued, "that Dr. Vasquez's ashes may have introduced Earth-based organic compounds that are helping plants adapt to Mars. She's still making life possible, even here, 140 million miles from home." The news was so incredible that NASA and SpaceX called a joint press conference. Scientists around the world wanted to study Elena's garden and understand how the mysterious soil chemistry was accelerating plant adaptation. Dr. Elena Vasquez always dreamed of helping children live better lives, the NASA administrator told reporters. Even on Mars, she's still making life possible for future human settlements. Sophia sat in her office, afterwards staring at the latest photos from Elena's garden. Healthy green plants growing in red Martian soil, thriving in ways that no one had predicted. Her phone rang. It was Elon. "Did you see the news about your mother?" he asked. "I can't believe it," Sophia said. "She's still saving lives, even on Mars." "There's something else," Elon said quietly. "I found something in Elena's old papers. Something that explains everything." Sophia's heart skipped. "What did you find?" "Sketches," Elon said. "Designs for children's spacesuits." And a note that said, "For the day when Sophia's children visit Mars to see Grandma Elena's garden." Sophia started crying. Happy tears, sad tears, overwhelmed tears, all mixed together. "She planned this," Sophia whispered. "All of it. She knew her ashes would help plants grow. She knew there would be children on Mars someday. She knew I would have children who would visit her garden." "Elena always was thinking 3 steps ahead," Elon said gently. "She saw possibilities that the rest of us missed." Sophia looked at the photo of Elena's garden one more time. In the background, she could see the red Martian landscape stretching to the horizon. But in the foreground, Earth plants grew green and strong, nourished by her mother's final gift. "I think she has one more dream for us to fulfill," Sophia said. "What's that?" Sophia smiled through her tears. "Making sure children can safely visit Mars to see their great-grandmother's garden. We need to design the best children's spacesuits in the solar system." Elon laughed. "Elena would love that." "When do we start?" "Tomorrow," Sophia said. "We start tomorrow. March 2024. 6 months after launch, the message from Mars arrived during Sophia's morning coffee. She was sitting in what used to be Elena's laboratory, now converted into the headquarters of the expanded Elena Vasquez Foundation, when her computer chimed with an urgent notification. "Priority transmission from Mars Base 1, the screen displayed." Sophia's heart jumped. Priority transmissions usually meant emergencies. Had something gone wrong with the life support systems she had designed? Were the astronauts in danger? She clicked the message open and found a video file from Commander Sarah Chen. The astronaut's face filled the screen, but instead of looking worried, she was smiling with pure amazement. "Houston, you are not going to believe what we discovered in Elena's garden," Commander Chen began. Sophia leaned forward, her coffee forgotten. 3 weeks ago, we scattered Dr. Vasquez's ashes in our greenhouse soil as planned. We expected normal plant growth rates, maybe 6 months to see meaningful results. But something extraordinary is happening here." The video switched to show the inside of the Mars greenhouse. Sophia gasped. Where there should have been small seedlings struggling to grow in alien soil, she saw thriving plants everywhere. Tomato vines heavy with red fruit, wheat stalks tall and golden, lettuce leaves green and crisp. The plants in Elena's garden are growing 3 times faster than our computer models predicted. Commander Chen continued. "But that's not the most incredible part. Dr. Park, our botanist, discovered something that's going to change everything we know about growing food on Mars." Dr. James Park appeared on screen, holding a soil sample. "The organic compounds from Dr. Vasquez's ashes have created a chemical reaction with Martian minerals that we never expected. The soil isn't just fertile, it's creating natural adaptations in Earth plants." Sophia stared at the screen in wonder as Dr. Park showed close-up images of the plants. "Look at these tomatoes," he said, holding up a perfectly red fruit. "The skins are thicker than Earth tomatoes, providing natural radiation protection. The root systems have adapted to find water more efficiently in Martian soil, and the nutritional content is actually higher than the same varieties grown on Earth." Commander Chen returned to the screen. "It's like Dr. Vasquez is still working to make life better, even here on Mars. The soil where we scattered her ashes has become the most productive growing area on the planet." Sophia's eyes filled with tears. Even in death, her mother was still saving lives, still finding ways to help people survive and thrive. The video continued with more amazing discoveries. The wheat grown in Elena's garden produced grain with extra protein. The lettuce contained higher levels of vitamins needed by humans living in low-gravity environments. Every plant seemed perfectly designed for keeping Mars colonists healthy. "We've named this soil composition Vasquez Medium," Dr. Park announced. "We're sending detailed analysis back to Earth so agricultural scientists can study how to recreate these effects in other Mars settlements." Sophia paused the video and sat back in her chair, overwhelmed. Her mother had always dreamed of saving children's lives with medical technology. But Elena's final contribution was even bigger. She was helping to make human survival possible on an entire planet. The phone rang, interrupting her thoughts. It was Elon. "Did you see the Mars transmission?" he asked, his voice full of excitement.
"I'm watching it now," Sophia replied.
"Elon, this is incredible. Mom is still making life possible, even 140 million miles away from Earth." "There's more," Elon said. "I've been going through Elena's old research files, and I found something amazing. She was working on more than just heart valves before she died." Sophia's pulse quickened. "What do you mean? Can you come to my office? You need to see this in person." 20 minutes later, Sophia stood in Elon's office looking at documents she had never seen before. They were Elena's private research notes from her final months, written when her hands were so weak she could barely hold a pen. She was studying soil chemistry, Elon explained, pointing to pages covered with Elena's careful handwriting. "Look at this." She was researching how organic compounds from cremation could be used as natural fertilizers. Sophia read over her mother's notes with growing amazement. Elena had been investigating ways to help plants grow in harsh conditions, not just on Mars but in poor areas on Earth where children suffered from malnutrition. She knew, Sophia whispered, she knew her ashes could help plants grow better. "There's more," Elon said, turning to another page. She designed a plan for turning space stations into agricultural research centers. "And look at this." He pointed to a sketch that made Sophia's breath catch. It was a drawing of children in small spacesuits, walking through a dome-shaped greenhouse on what was clearly an alien planet. At the bottom of the page, Elena had written, "For Sophia's children, when they visit Grandma Elena's garden on Mars." Sophia stared at the sketch through tears. She really did plan all of this. "Elena always thought bigger than the rest of us," Elon said gently. "She saw connections we missed. She understood that helping life flourish in one place would teach us how to help it flourish everywhere." Over the next few months, news about Elena's garden spread around the world. Agricultural scientists wanted to study Vasquez Medium. Space agencies wanted to include cremated remains in their Mars missions. Children in schools drew pictures of the magical garden, where Earth plants grew strong on an alien world. But the most meaningful response came from an unexpected source: the families of children whose lives had been saved by Elena's heart valves. Letters poured into the Elena Vasquez Foundation from parents around the globe. They wrote about their children, now healthy and strong, who dreamed of becoming astronauts and botanists and Mars farmers because of Elena's story. "My daughter Maria had Elena's heart valve installed when she was 6, wrote a mother from Guatemala. Now she is 12 and wants to study space agriculture. She says she wants to help feed the people who live on Mars. Elena's valve saved my son's life," wrote a father from Bangladesh. He is now studying engineering and wants to design greenhouses for space colonies. Elena's dream is living on in the next generation. Sophia read every letter with pride and sadness mixed together. Elena's influence was growing far beyond what she had ever imagined. Children who were alive because of her medical work were now inspired to continue her mission of making life possible in impossible places. The Elena Vasquez Foundation grew rapidly, funding research projects around the world. Mobile medical clinics brought heart valve surgery to remote areas. Agricultural programs taught farmers in poor countries how to grow more food with limited resources. Educational scholarships sent brilliant children to universities where they could study space science and medicine. Sophia found herself traveling constantly, to hospitals in Africa where Elena's valves were saving lives, to universities in Asia where students were researching Mars agriculture, to conferences where scientists shared discoveries inspired by Elena's garden. Everywhere she went, people asked the same questions. What would Dr. Vasquez think of all this? Did she know her work would have such a huge impact? Sophia always gave the same answer. "My mother believed that some dreams are bigger than one lifetime." She planted seeds that other people would help grow. She would be amazed by how far those seeds have traveled. But privately, Sophia was beginning to understand that Elena had known exactly what she was doing. The sketches of children in spacesuits, the soil chemistry research, the careful timing of her final requests. Elena had orchestrated something beautiful and complex. A legacy that would inspire generations of children to reach for the stars while never forgetting to help people on Earth. One evening, Sophia sat alone in Elena's old laboratory, now bustling headquarters of the foundation that bore her mother's name. On her desk sat the latest photo from Mars, Elena's garden in full bloom, feeding the astronauts who were building humanity's first foothold on another planet. Next to the Mars photo was a picture from Earth, children in a Guatemala hospital recovering from heart valve surgery, smiling and healthy and full of dreams. "You did it, Mom," Sophia whispered to both pictures. "You really did help humans reach the stars. And you never stopped saving lives while you did it." Her computer chimed with another message from Mars. This time it was Dr. Park, with an update that would change everything once again. "Sophia, you need to see this," his recorded message began. "We've made a discovery in Elena's garden that nobody expected. The soil analysis shows something incredible about the long-term effects of Vasquez medium. This could change the entire timeline for Mars colonization." Sophia clicked play on the video file, not knowing that she was about to learn the final piece of her mother's master plan. Back to October 2023. Mountain View Cemetery. The fog had completely lifted now. Sophia knelt beside Elon at Elena's grave, both of them quiet after placing the handmade rocket and white rose on the headstone. "I followed you here," Sophia said softly, breaking the silence. "I knew you would come today. You always do." Elon looked at her with surprise, and something that might have been relief. "How long have you known I visit?" "Since the first year after Mom died," Sophia replied. "I come here every few months, and I always see fresh flowers that aren't mine. White roses. Always white roses." "Your mother loved white roses," Elon said quietly. "She had one in a water glass on her desk at the hospital lab, said they reminded her that beautiful things could grow anywhere." Sophia smiled through her tears. "She never told me that story." They sat together on the damp grass surrounded by the peaceful quiet of the cemetery. In the distance, SpaceX rocket trail was just barely visible in the morning sky. Another mission heading to space. "The Mars message," Sophia said suddenly. "Dr. Park's final discovery. You need to know what he found." Elon turned to look at her. "What did he find?" Sophia pulled out her phone and showed him the video that had arrived just days before. Dr. Park's excited face filled the small screen. "The soil analysis from Elena's garden shows something incredible," Dr. Park's recorded voice said. "The Vasquez medium isn't just helping current plants grow. It's creating conditions that will support Earth life on Mars for generations. The chemical changes are permanent, self-sustaining. Every plant that grows there will produce seeds that are even better adapted to Mars." Sophia paused the video and looked at Elon. "Mom didn't just help us survive on Mars. She helped us make Mars a place where Earth life can thrive forever, where children can grow up healthy and strong. She planned all of this," Elon said, his voice full of wonder. "Even the timing." "There's more," Sophia said, restarting the video. Dr. Park continued, "But here's the most amazing part. We found something buried in the soil, where we scattered Dr. Vasquez's ashes, something that wasn't part of the cremation remains." The video showed Dr. Park holding up a small metal object, tarnished but recognizable. "It's a locket," Dr. Park said. "Inside we found a photo of a young girl, and a note written in Spanish, 'Para Sofía, mi estrella.' Reach for Mars, but never forget Earth. For Sophia, my star." Sophia started crying. She hid it in her ashes. "A final message for me." Elon put his arm around Sophia's shoulders. "What does it mean?" "It means she knew I would visit Elena's garden someday, that I would find her last message when I was ready to understand it." Sophia looked at Elena's headstone, where the handmade rocket sat next to the fresh flowers. The rocket model, it wasn't just a childhood gift, it was a promise. Mom kept it to remind herself that dreams of reaching space could come true if we never gave up. "And now?" Elon asked gently. "Now I understand what she really wanted," Sophia said. "Not just to have her ashes on Mars, but to make Mars a place where children could live and grow and dream of reaching even farther into space. Sophia stood up and walked to the headstone. She traced Elena's name with her finger. "I have something to tell you," she said to Elon. "About my genetic test results. About the future." Elon's face grew serious. "Sophia, whatever it is, we'll face it together." "The test results were wrong," Sophia said with a smile. "I got them rechecked after the Mars launch. I don't carry the ALS gene. I'm going to live a long, healthy life." Relief flooded Elon's face. "Sophia, that's incredible news. Why didn't you tell me sooner?" "Because I needed to understand something first," Sophia said. "I needed to know that even if I had been sick, Mom's work would continue, that her dreams were bigger than any one person." Sophia pulled a folder from her bag and handed it to Elon. "I've been working on this for 6 months. Ever since we got the first messages from Elena's garden." Elon opened the folder and found architectural plans, budget projections, and partnership agreements from space agencies around the world. "The Elena Vasquez Children's Medical Center," Sophia explained. "The facility that will use SpaceX technology to deliver emergency medical care to children anywhere in the world. Mobile surgical units that can reach disaster zones in hours, telemedicine systems that connect children in poor countries with the best doctors on Earth." Elon studied the plans with growing amazement. "Sophia, this is incredible, but how will SpaceX technology help with medical care on Earth?" "Mom figured that out 25 years ago," Sophia said, pointing to notes scribbled in the margins of the plans. "Rocket fuel chemistry can be adapted for medical applications. Satellite networks can provide internet to remote hospitals. The same life support systems that keep astronauts alive in space can keep premature babies alive in areas without reliable electricity." "Your mother's dream was never just about space," Elon said, understanding dawning on his face. "It was about using big dreams to solve small problems. Every child who needs help. Every child." Sophia agreed. That's why she wanted her ashes on Mars. Not just to be there, but to make it possible for children to visit someday. To show them that impossible dreams can come true if enough people work together. They walked back toward their cars as the morning sun grew warmer. The cemetery was beginning to fill with other visitors. People bringing flowers to loved ones. Children learning family history. Couples walking hand in hand through the peaceful paths. "What happens now?" Elon asked as they reached the parking area. "Now we build the medical center," Sophia said. "We make sure Elena's heart valves reach every child who needs them. We establish permanent greenhouses on Mars using Vasquez medium. And we design the best children's spacesuits in the solar system. For when they visit Grandma Elena's garden." "For when they visit Grandma Elena's garden," Sophia confirmed with a smile. As they prepared to leave, Sophia looked back one more time at Elena's grave. The handmade rocket sat among the flowers like a small beacon of hope. "Thank you, Mom," she whispered, "for teaching me that the real measure of success isn't how high you fly but how many people you lift up with you." Elon heard her words and nodded slowly. "Elena taught me the same thing. I had forgotten it during some of my darkest times, but she never let me lose sight of what really mattered." They drove away from the cemetery together, past the rolling hills of Palo Alto toward the SpaceX facility where engineers were already working on the next generation of rockets that would carry humans to Mars and beyond. But now those rockets carried something more than just cargo and crew. They carried Elena's dream of making life possible wherever humans dared to go. They carried the promise that children born on Earth would someday walk through gardens on other planets, breathing air that Earth plants had made from alien soil. As Sophia and Elon disappeared into the morning traffic, the handmade rocket remained on Elena's grave, a small symbol of big dreams, impossible promises kept, and love that reaches across the vastness of space to connect hearts on different worlds. In the distance, another SpaceX rocket was preparing for launch, carrying supplies to the International Space Station. Soon it would carry the first children's spacesuits to Mars, designed by Sophia and tested in Elena's garden. The dream was growing, just as Elena had always known it would. At the bottom of Elena's headstone, hidden by the morning shadows, a small brass plaque caught the sunlight. It read, "Her heart valve invention has saved 50,000 children worldwide. Her dream lives on in the Elena Vasquez Foundation and Mars Colony Medical Bay 1. Some promises take a lifetime to keep, But above the plaque, the handmade rocket painted in bright colors seemed to point toward the sky, where Elena's impossible dream had finally come true. That was the end of the promise he kept. The tale of Elena Vasquez, whose dreams reached from a Stanford library all the way to Mars, and how one friendship changed the course of human history. Elena's legacy reminds us that the greatest achievements aren't measured by how high we soar, but by how many lives we lift up along the way. From a simple heart valve that saved 50,000 children to a garden growing on Mars, her vision shows us that impossible dreams become possible when we refuse to give up on each other. Where are you listening from today? Drop a comment below and let us know your location. We love connecting with viewers from around the globe who believe in the power of human determination and kindness. If this tale of friendship, sacrifice, and dreams that span planets touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. We bring you inspiring content like this every week. Real people making extraordinary differences in our world. Most importantly, share this video with your friends and family. In a world that sometimes feels divided, we need more tales that remind us of our shared humanity and infinite potential. Together, we can spread kindness and awareness, one incredible tale at a time. Until next time, keep reaching for the stars, and never forget to lift others up with you.